Night, game one of the NBA Finals, the first one ever for the Nuggets, and it was all about the dynamic duo of Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. Sorry, Jimmy, you were not him. It was all about Nikola finding people wide open, a lot of Murray early on, Monica.
Yeah, he had an assist in that first quarter to every single one of the starters on the floor. We know that he accounts for a large percentage of points scored or assisted on.
6 dimes in the first quarter, tied for the most in the first quarter of an NBA Finals game in over the last 25 years. Jokic and Murray. Murray with 26 points. Jokic 10 dimes in the first half, no turnovers. And then when you finally cover Murray, you got Jokic wide open, Allen.
Yeah, he just took his time waiting. Jeff Van Gundy said it best in the first half. Jokic dominated the game, and he only took 4 shots.
Yeah, that's incredible. 5 shots in the first 3 quarters. He was incredible in the second half. And then Miami's offense starts to heat up here in the fourth quarter, down by 16. What changed?
Yeah, well, making threes, that's what changed. They were finally knocking them down. It took them about 3 quarters to get their legs under them. But once they did, Kyle Lowry knocks a few down here. And you're looking at the score and you're thinking, wait, this was a blowout. But as we know with the Miami Heat, they never go away. And now all of a sudden, corner 3, we got a ball game.
Part of an 11-0 run. Haywood Highsmith had 18 points. They're within 9, but then too much Jokic. Getting everybody involved.
Yeah, and I think this is the difference between the series we just saw Miami in versus this Nuggets squad. They are just as comfortable in late games should they get tight.
Jokic 27, 14, and 10. Another triple-double. The winners talk.
They fight, they never quit, and we just wanted to get the first punch, to hold that team to 93 points. I think it's a really good job.
I definitely think they came out with a lot of physicality, and we have to be able to match that. They did their job on their home floor. We'll adjust, do some things very differently, and come out here and be ready to get one for game 2.
Well, Murray had 26. Jokic and Murray, just the third pair of teammates to each have at least 20 and 10 dimes in a finals game, joining Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Showtime. That is Magic and James Worthy. Jokic and Murray combining to score or assist on 87 of the Nuggets' 104 points in game 1. Back here with Allen and Monica, and Wendy is standing by. Okay, there have been 12 triple-doubles this postseason, 9 of them coming from Jokic. Let's not talk about really the shooting. Let's not talk about the rebounding. When you watch him pass, especially in that first half, who does he remind you of?
Patrick Mahomes. I mean, that's where I'm going with this. No, I'm going Patrick Mahomes.
But okay.
No, we could do Magic Johnson. We could do John Stockton. We could do Bob Cousy. We could do Arvydas Sabonis. I'm going Patrick Mahomes. I want his QBR. What is it, ESPN Stats and Info? Because last night, it might have been a record in the NFL. And I also want to hear from some of these quarterbacks in the NFL that we know are watching the NBA Finals. And I want to hear what they think about the way he passes. Because I've heard this from all the NFL experts we have in the show, he throws you open. That's what he does. Watch the passes that he makes. They're never ones that you have to fumble. They hit you in the hands and it makes it easy for you to score. He makes the game easy for you. But on top of that, the Mahomes comparison. Number 1, they both own Denver. Number 2, they also are guys. I had to throw that in. But number 2, they're also guys that they have the clairvoyance when they play a game. They understand the game. They are thinking it faster while looking like they're slower. They're playing faster than you while playing slow or at their own speed. That's the best comp. I'm watching that game, and I'm trying to think of things that I don't think I've heard said before, because we've said so much about Jokic and his ability, and all I kept thinking of, Patrick Mahomes.
Well, all I did was come up with a cool new nickname for him.
Okay.
And I'm calling him Optimus Dime.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, I really like that.
That's good.
Right?
Especially with the Transformer movie coming out.
Literally.
I see you.
You know what I'm saying? Listen, I think you got to be careful not to call his pace slow. It is deliberate,
yes,
right? Because I think slow obviously has a little bit of a negative connotation. And while he's not going to wow you with his athleticism, the best players in the game have control of the pace at which everybody plays. And this guy draws 9 sets of eyes, 5 in terms of defenders, and whatever you decide to do defensively, he has a counter, he has an answer, he's never rushed, and that is something truly to marvel at. So I do like the idea of a QBR. I think last night, and we talked about it going into this game, you wanted to see what Denver's gonna look like now that they finally arrived at this stage. And baby, they came in looking real good. The fit was excellent. The confidence showed through. I thought Aaron Gordon was terrific in terms of making a statement. Oh, y'all gonna give me the paint? Y'all gonna let me seal deep in this paint? Well, I'm gonna take advantage of it in the first quarter.
Well, let's look at some of the numbers again behind the passing, right? That again, ESPN Stats and Information didn't get me a QBR, but they do have this. Teammates 14 of 19 off his passes. 14 of 19.
Yeah.
3 of 7 from downtown. 11 of 14 on open looks, which is going to be a topic that Miami's going to be talking about. 6 different players making a field goal on his assist. So he shares the wealth. He finds all his receivers. He scored or assisted on 58 points in this game. He controlled the game.
Okay, listen, stats and information, they just chimed in, and I'm weighing in. His QBR was 100.
There it is.
That good.
There it is.
Yeah, because there's no question he was flawless.
There it is.
Denver Nuggets roll out as soon as he comes on the floor with Optimus Dime. Windy, you were there for game 1. What adjustment did the Heat defense make, though? Because in the fourth quarter, suddenly it's inside double digits, and you're thinking, uh-oh, do we have that Heat run? What do you expect to see more of in game 2 for Miami?
Would you believe that the Heat's game plan was to keep Jokic from passing to his teammates as much? It did not work, except in the fourth quarter. So obviously he was able to be a distributor. That's the worst case scenario for any opponent, especially Miami. He only had 5 shots going into the fourth. They were obviously winning very big. In the fourth quarter, though, he only had 2 assists, and he took 7 shots. That is the type of defensive game plan the Heat were trying to get to. They were trying to force him to hold on to the ball. There was even one possession late in the fourth quarter where he was standing literally about 6 feet from the basket where nobody was around him. And he kind of looked all 4 sides and said, you know what, I'm just going to shoot it. That's what the Heat want to do. Their game plan coming in was to sort of allow him to operate with the ball, but try to cut off those passing lanes. And the sheer size difference. And guys, I know that it's not a surprise to the Heat how big the Nuggets are, but it's one thing to prepare for it. It's one thing to look at the roster. It's another thing when you actually go out there and deal with it. They couldn't handle those size mismatches. And so even with the game plan to cut off his passing, his teammates were able to use their size to get open. And so that's what I think the big game plan adjustment from the Heat will be going into game 2. Potentially a lineup change and potentially playing more like they did in the fourth quarter, which they did win by 10 points.
How about this? This is the theory here for Miami. We need to make sure the 2-time MVP shoots the ball more. That actually helps us. That's how much of a weapon Jokic is. Right. On the other side, though, another big storyline is where was Jimmy Buckets? Because he struggled in this game. When I say struggle, he couldn't find any rhythm. Jimmy Butler held it just 13 points. I mean, he took 14 shots. Wendy, when you saw this defensive game plan, what was the difference for the Nuggets in really containing Miami?
You know, they just really used their length on Jimmy Butler. In the last round against the Celtics, Butler struggled, but heads up with Robert Williams and Jason Tatum. He didn't challenge their length that much. The Nuggets saw that. They made sure that they had those long defenders on him. You would have potentially thought that Kentavious Caldwell-Pope would have been their choice, but they went with longer defenders like Aaron Gordon. And Jimmy Butler didn't challenge them, didn't go look for contact at the rim. He basically became a passer. And that's how you wind up with 2 free throws in 48 minutes, which is a shocking number. And I'm going to be honest with you, maybe there was a call here or there. I didn't think it was a controversial game. I didn't think 2 free throws was controversial. Jimmy Butler did not force the action. He did not look at the guy who was bigger than him and say, let me figure out a way to get to the foul line. That is something that they are going to have. We know Jimmy Butler can do it. But since he's turned that ankle all the way back in that series with the Knicks, he is not consistently shown the same physicality. The Nuggets knew that, and it was in their game plan.
Okay, those 2 free throws, the fewest in NBA playoffs history, and it didn't feel like you were watching the game saying, oh, they're missing that, missing that here, Monica. Yeah. And Aaron Gordon played a huge role in this game because Caleb Martin, the hero, I mean, Boston fans, turn away, the hero, of course, in the previous series, 1 of 7 and just 3 points. What did you see from the Nuggets defense?
Well, honestly, in that first half, I wasn't blown away by the Nuggets defense. I thought that the Heat missed a lot of open looks. And so you think to the 7 games that they had to go through with the Celtics, you think to, okay, maybe the altitude is affecting them a little bit. But I guess in the second half, in terms of the Nuggets defense, I think they do a good job of staying connected. And because of their length, they're able to close up gaps that I think people might take for granted. I don't think it is as simple as Jimmy not thinking he can get by the guy that's his primary defender, but he's looking at how well they're shifting and how much length is on the back end. And so that, to me, is a large strength of the Nuggets. They are not. Aaron Gordon is a really good defender. KCP solid, Bruce Brown, but they're not you don't fear them because of their defense as a unit, right? And so I think them staying connected and understanding their game plan, shading, crowding, using their length, that was overall really effective.
They made Jimmy Butler a jump shooter, first and foremost.
Right.
You saw it in those highlights there while Windy was talking. That was the thing that really struck me, is we saw so much of him just pulling up for jumpers That's game 5 against the Celtics, where he really was not effective. He only had 10 drives in that game, and that was a playoff low. He only had 8 drives in this game, and that's now his new playoff low. And is it aggressiveness, or is it him just understanding, like, there's nowhere for me to go? One thing you'll say about Jimmy Butler, he'll never force it. Like, he's not going to just put his head down and just drive in and hope something good happens. He doesn't drive without a plan. And if it's not there, he won't take it. He'll try to do something else. Absolutely, the length affected him. That's something you learned in the Celtics series. But on top of it, okay, I'm not the open man. The defense is focused on me. Bam Adebayo, 8, because he went one-on-one. Yep. And then now it's your supporting cast guys that are supposed to soften up the defense by knocking down those open threes. They did not do that in this game. And now is that just one game, or is that what this series is going to look like? Game 2 will tell us.
Windy, one quick thought here, because Eric Spoelstra's got to feel really good about Bam Adebayo, 26 and 13 and 5 dimes. What do you expect to see different in Game 2?
Yeah, the Heat were undefeated in the playoffs. They were 6-0 when Bam Adebayo scored over 20 points. So if you had told Eric Spoelstra before the game that the Nuggets were only going to score 104, I know it didn't feel like this because the game plan was compromised. I think the Heat were okay with the overall output of their defense. If you'd have told them 104 points and Bam Adebayo got 26, I think he would have thought he would have had a win, a 7th straight Game 1 victory. But the thing about it is it took Adebayo 25 shots to get there. That's the most he's ever taken in a playoff game. And so what you end up with there is Adebayo being the hub of their offense and the centerpiece, not the complement off Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler has got to be more of a weapon, with Adebayo being the